On the Anarchy server 6v6t, there was once an exploit where if a player would crouch at spawn, their coordinates would be tracked for the remainder of their play session. Even if they traveled to different dimensions or teleported millions of blocks away, their exact position would be recorded by a harmless-looking bot. In reality, this bot was reporting player coordinates back to one of the most powerful clans in the server's history, who would go on to leak over hundreds of bases in the days after the bot went online. What could be causing this? Well, this exploit was discovered by a clan who many players today still remember their name, LagGang. In addition to coordinate exploits, they also developed many server crashing methods, teleport exploits that let you reach the world border within an hour, and 2 authentication exploits. This clan wasn't focused on building or recruiting like many other clans, but instead, LagGang was more interested in trying to break the server. And in many cases, they were successful. LagGang was started by the players TNT Jesse, Plans Dende, and Tom Planeta after they found an exploit that would disable players from using commands. They used this to troll a streamer at the time named PSG and tried to ruin his time on the server. Rather than be angry, PSG ended up joining LagGang and would become one of its more senior members. This also attracted the attention of an infamous player named Clyde, who would also go on to join the clan. The group decided that they needed to expand and wanted to discover as many exploits as they could. To join the group, you couldn't apply but had to be hand-picked by an existing member. To help discover more exploits, the group developed a plugin for Meteor Client that would allow them to see every single plugin active on 6v6t. This revealed the specific plugins, such as manually added dupes and which server optimizations were enabled. By reading over the known issues with these plugins, they could find exploits much faster before they had time to be patched by the dev team. For example, a plugin named Group Chat was added to 6v6t. LagGang then read over the known bugs and found that by spamming the command /groupchat_add followed by weird characters, the server would start to have heavy lag and eventually crash. While some of the plugins were custom, some of them were public and even had public bugs that could be exploited. With the knowledge of the plugins, they essentially knew every single bug that might break the server, and used this to their advantage for more server crashes. Now, there's a tradition on Anarchy servers called No Server November, where many players will run lag machines and do everything they can to take the server down. This is especially bad for 6v6t because cracked servers are much more vulnerable to exploits and DDoS attacks. LagGang decided to join the No Server November movement and would run powerful lag machines and every exploit they had in order to crash the server over and over again. Players reported that the server would go down dozens of times every single day. After taking credit for the server crashes and exploits, it just brought more attention to their clan and would help them grow to over 20 members during the year they were active. Their Discord reached over 500 members, and to celebrate, the clan made one of their private duplication glitches public, where it was possible to get over 2 double chests of shulkers every minute. One of the things that helped their popularity was how willing LagGang was to share new information with outside players, and this included base coordinates. One of the server's plugins had to do with how player data was calculated, and specifically how cosmetic items were portrayed. There was a bug where when you were on the server, if you crouched, it would generate an armor stand over your head. This was a known bug with some cosmetic commands that hadn't been fixed, and LagGang realized that because the armor stand was an entity, it can be tracked even through teleports. So, if a player entered the render distance of a bot and happens to crouch, the bot would automatically grab the coordinates of the armor stand that was generated. So anywhere for that play session, that player was now being watched, even if they used /home or /TPA and even through dimensions. Because the armor stand was an entity, it had the same entity ID. Whenever a player crouched, it would generate again, and the bot knew exactly where it was. LagGang quickly started getting coordinates of player homes and teleports. All they needed to do was place the bot in populated areas like spawn. In just a few days after the bot came online, LagGang was sitting on hundreds of cords, even from extremely powerful players. But instead of griefing them, they just released them to the public for the community to have. While LagGang was extremely active, there was a problem that started to form within the clan. At the time, there were only a handful of clans that were active on the server, and due to inconsistency with player counts, these clans were not ready to stick around for years and years. LagGang's main rival at the time, the colonizers, were growing less and less active, leaving even less possibility for competition. So, to rally the clan, in December of 2022, LagGang developed a boat exploit that allowed them to travel insanely quickly and could reach the world border in less than an hour of any dimension. Jesse and Clyde, two of the leaders in the clan, made the journey and documented their success, proving again that LagGang found yet another exploit in the server. This boat exploit worked very similarly to a 2B2T exploit that was actually covered on FitMC's channel. LagGang's exploits on the server started attracting attention from someone who preferred they stop with the server crashes, Cubasti. While he attempted to stop the clan's efforts of breaking the server, due to their activity, Cubasti was also friends with many of the members. When sweeping changes needed to come into effect, Cubasti would reach out to Jesse and Clyde and would even change plugin settings based on their recommendations. This was a very powerful ally for LagGang, and they would essentially be running the server now that an admin was on their side. Some of the members even reported starting a normal survival Minecraft server with him that they would hang out in. LagGang would continue to dominate the server with their new allies. The next Elytrafly patch? It was made by LagGang members, who had backdoored it so that only whitelisted members could use Elytrafly normally. The first 32k overpowered weapons? Spawned by LagGang, and some of them still exist today. Give ranks the ability to create hotspots? LagGang would create them over the void. If there was drama between the 6B6T owners where players were teleported to bases to grief them, those players were LagGang members. After a few smaller projects, LagGang members started to hit a point that most Anarchy players are familiar with: Burnout. The colonizers were on a break during this period due to the same reason. What's important to remember is that the modern server map was only about 1 year old at this point, and the player base was much smaller than it is today. So, to try and preserve the clan rather than disband, Jesse announced that the clan would be taking a break to try and prevent the permanent burnout. They tried to stay positive, but it was an unfortunate sign of what was to come. 2 months later, after 6B6T had updated to a Folia server and introduced a ton of new bugs and exploits, LagGang announced they would return. Wanting to come back strong, they released 1,700 accounts that joined the server but are no longer active. Due to a security flaw at the time, you could register a cracked account with the same username as a premium Minecraft account, and you would then get all of the items and stats that the premium account had. And LagGang released these usernames for free. Also in their announcement post, they revealed their next project: to create the largest library in an Anarchy server. They had planned to do this by developing an automated bot that could write Minecraft books based on text in Discord or the Minecraft chat. It was potentially one of the most advanced bots written for an anarchy server, as a bot would read your chat logs and automatically paste them into a written Minecraft book. Over the next few months, LagGang would continue with their projects, leaking more coordinates and causing more chaos, but the writing was on the wall. In July of 2023, LagGang attempted to grief a final colonizers project, but were unsuccessful. The colonizers left the server shortly after, leaving LagGang as the most powerful active clan. The members had a few more minor projects, but in the end, there wasn't any motivation to continue. On September 17th, 2023, Jesse announced that LagGang would be shutting down. In a heartfelt announcement post, he thanked all of the members for their contribution and said that he was finished with Anarchy and was ready to move on to other projects. The Discord was then archived, and the group was disbanded. Since LagGang has been gone, some of the members are still active on 6B today, while others have left Anarchy servers completely. Jesse has stepped away from Anarchy servers and has actually been helping with the back end of other projects such as the new Horizon video. LagGang was one of the most interesting clans on the server, whose legacy has remained for years after being disbanded. Many modern players still remember them and the impact they had on the server. The members of LagGang that I spoke to have told me that some of them are actually interested in returning to 6B. I guess if they do, we'll know it when the server goes down.